here for day 10 of Bookmas. I'm going to talk about some of the middle grade books that have piqued my fancy that are coming out in 2022 and that I am really excited to read. Again, publishing dates tend to be changing. I'm sure there's going to be books that are announced later in the year that I am also dying to read, but these are the books, according to Goodreads, that the cover and the title have piqued my fancy. I tend to read a lot more fantasy middle grade, but I have read a couple of contemporary middle grades this past year that I've also really enjoyed. So let's see what I find, and I'll try to give you guys dates to the best of my ability. What we are going to chat about is by Clara Bell Ortega, which I have read one book previously by, but the book we're going to chat about today is The Witchlings, and it is coming out February 1st, and here's a pretty photo. I really like this cover right off the bat. Liking her first book, and this summary sounds right up my alley. But it's a magical adventure for fans of Amari and the Night Brothers and Nevermore about three witchlings who must work together to do the impossible if they have hopes of earning their full powers. Ooh, that sounds awesome. So they have to try to work together to become witchlings. I am really intrigued by this one. It comes out in February. I'm definitely going to add it to my TBR, and hopefully I get around to reading it. But yeah, definitely the first book that I have my eye on. Such a pretty cover as well. I'm going to talk about that I actually just found out about doing this video was Theo Tan and the Fox Spirit by Jessie Q. Soento, which you've been following these videos. You've seen that I've liked her adult books. I haven't quite got around to her YA ones, but this one is very intriguing because it has to do with mythology. Here is a pretty photo. May 31st, 2022. This is a mythology themed book. It's not from Rick Riordan Presents. It's actually from Macmillan, but I'm very excited for it. And here is a brief summary, according to Goodreads, and it will be linked on my blog. After inheriting a grieving fox spirit, a Chinese-American boy must learn to embrace his heritage and solve the mystery of his brother's death in Jessie Q. Soento's magical, action-packed middle-grade fantasy, Theo Tan and the Fox Spirits. He doesn't want a fox spirit. He doesn't want a spirit companion. He wants to be a normal American teenager, but things go wrong when his brother dies and he winds up becoming caretaker for his his brother's fox spirit. That sounds adorable. It has to do with some grieving elements. I love anything mythology. I'm a big Percy Jackson fan. I love the entire Rick Riordan Presents series, so I'm really excited for this one. Have loved her writing style that I've read previously, so I really hope that I like this one as well. And it's definitely on my to-read list for middle of the year 2022. My interest is coming out May 2nd, 2022. It is also from, I think it's from Little Brown. I'll double check that. But it's called Freddy versus the Family Curse. And here is a picture. But this summary just piqued my interest again. It has to do something with mythology or his family legacies and family secrets, and I'm really intrigued right off the bat. But in this thrilling, hilarious middle grade adventure, a young Filipino-American boy must team up with his ancestor to break a curse that's haunted their family for generations or be trapped in an amulet forever. I am intrigued. That sounds great. It's coming out in May, and I'm really excited for it, so I'll definitely have to add that to my TBR. But yeah, definitely keep your eye on it if you're intrigued by that summary as I am. Books, I tend to choose a couple of things. Either imprints I really like, authors that I've read before, or covers and titles that just intrigue me. But this one is a combination of all three. It's written by Emily Lloyd-Jones, who wrote The Bone Season, and the cover just sounds really cool. And it's called The Unseen Magic, and is coming out February 22nd, 2022. So definitely an earlier middle grade read, which is really exciting for me. And here's a photo. Season she wrote The Bone Houses. I'm reading The Bone Season, that's why I mixed that up. But this summary sounds really cute. And it's Aldemina is a small town with its own set of rules. There's a tea shop that vanishes if you try to force your way in, crows that must be fed or they go through your trash, and a bridge that has a toll that no one knows the cost of. Some say that they may never be Bigfoots wandering through the woods. For Finn Alderman, this is her home, but she's worried that she'll do something to mess it up. Things don't go exactly as planned when she tries to turn to her magic to ease her fears, and it costs her a memory. It sounds really, really awesome. It's a very, very long summary, and I don't want to spoil it too much, but it sounds great. The cover sounds awesome. I love books about magic in a contemporary setting. It also seems to have a little bit of anxiety and depression elements to it. I'm intrigued. Coming out in late February, and I'll definitely be checking out, and I hope you do too. To do books that I don't have dates for, but this summary sounds so great. It's coming out from Harper in 2022, we hope or assume. It's not a specific date, but the book is called Shad Hadi and the Alchemist of Alexandria, and I just love that title, so I had to do a bit more research, and the summary also really intrigued me. So here's like the non-existent cover, but here it is anyway. Horrible. So the summary says you find this girl named Shahidi, and she's an inspiring baker whose life is uprooted when he discovers he is descended from a long line of alchemists and is sent to the mysterious Alexandria Academy. And when he's sent there, he learns that magic is at the heart of this school, and he holds the key to either stopping or unleashing their evil plot. That sounds really intriguing. Hopefully it gets a release date soon, because I definitely want to add it to my monthly TBR video. But I'm really excited for this, and it sounds right up my alley. I have a thing about books with Alexandria in the title. I do not know why. I just like the myth of that town. So I'm intrigued. Definitely want to read it, and it's why it's in this video. Book that I'm really excited for coming out in 2022. Again, it does not have a date, but this time it does have a cover. It is by Julie Abe, who wrote the Eva Evergreen series, which I have really, really enjoyed. And it's called Alina, Girl of the Dragons. I think that's the title. And here is a photo. Sorry, here is a photo. And the summary is even more interesting and fascinating. It is, for fans of Shannon Hale and Gail Carson Levine, comes an enchanting fairy tale retelling of a Japanese Cinderella set in the magical world of Eva Evergreen, the semi-magical witch. Cinderella retelling set in the same world as Eva Evergreen. I am here for it. Hopefully we get a date soon. I have a feeling it will probably come out in the summer, because that's when the other two books came out. Very intrigued by this one. Hope I get around to reading it, and hope it gets a release date soon. I'm going to talk about is a blast from my childhood, and it's Margaret Pearson Haddocks. I know she's been writing some more books relatively recently, but I read the Hidden series by her when I was much younger. But she has a book out that's a mystery thriller for the middle grade set, and I am immediately intrigued, and it's called School for Whatnots. Comes out in February. I'll have the exact date for you, but here is a photo. I love mystery thrillers, but I'm a little bit of a chicken, so this one sounds right up my alley. But this book does come out February 8th, and it follows a main character named Max, and he finds a note under his keyboard from his friend Josie saying, no matter what anyone tells you, I am real. And it starts uncovering this mystery where no one, like this little boy that he was friends with and knew, no one thinks he's real. And he starts uncovering a mystery of what has happened to his best friend. Things are in place to kind of keep them apart. I'm really intrigued. I love books about that. It sounds like it has like a thriller element to it, and that's rare in middle grade. You finally find a lot of mystery and eerie, but never like a thriller. So I'm intrigued, and I really hope that I get around to reading it soon. I love this author's writing style. It's very, very fast-paced, very, very quick, very, very engaging, and that summary sounds interesting. So the main character is sort of uncovering what is going on with this person that he believed was his friend. So I'm intrigued and hope I get around to reading it in early 2022. Presents is definitely one of my favorite middle grade imprints, and this is the first book that's on this list. They are coming out with a lot of books in 2022. They're not all on Goodreads yet because most of them don't have dates yet, but this is one that I am really intrigued about. It sounds like it'd be a perfect fall read, and it's called Sierra Botong Guide to Slaying Guide to Vampire Hunting. It's by Rosanne Brown, who wrote A Songs of Rates and Rune. I'm really excited for this one. It doesn't have a cover, so here's the fake cover on Goodreads. the Prophecy Radio podcast that I listened to. But the summary, according to Goodreads, is 12-year-old child is uprooted from her vampire hunting life after her childhood home is viciously attacked by shape-shifting vampires that mask themselves as harmless fireflies, and is sent to the care of an aunt in Maryland for her home protection and forced to attend a normal school for the first time, but finds vampire hunting and 7th grade don't quite mix. Now it is up to her to make warriors out of her classmates before they all become vampire food. I am intrigued. Sounds great. Sounds like a perfect fall read. I love books about fantastical elements. It's a nice escape from reality. This book is no different. I'm a big fan of Rick Riordan Presents imprints. It's probably one of my favorite imprints or publishers to date, so very excited for this one and hope it gets a fall release date soon. The release date, but it doesn't have a cover, and it's by Alexandra Overy, which I read These Feathered Flames by her this year. I liked it. It wasn't my favorite, but this middle grade book sounds really, really intriguing. It comes out, it comes out September 13th, 2022. It's called The Gingerbread Witch, and it's Maud has grown up in a house of gingerbread, waiting nothing more to be like a witch like her, like Mother Agatha. But just like all of Agatha's creations, her magical house made of sweets and chocolates, Maud will turn back to a gingerbread if anything ever happens to our Agatha. After a terrible fight, Maud storms off, only to return home to learn that Hansel and Gretel, a pair of witch hunters, have pushed Agatha into the cottage oven. To save herself and the other gingerbread creations, Maud will have to go into the dangerous forest of the Shadlands to find the first witch spellbook. But with witch hunters on her trail and other people interested in the book for their own means, it will be far from easy. I'm intrigued. That sounds like it would be like a great, like, Christmassy read, maybe. I'm really excited for that one. Now, that summary sounds so cool, so I had to include it. And hopefully I get around to reading it. If not the fall, then definitely around Christmas time. The book I'm going to chat about in this video is by Kayla Josephine. It does not have a release date. I read her Stormcrow duology and really enjoyed it. This one does not have a date, but the summary sounds really intriguing. It's called Ravenfall, and it's pitched as practical magic meets supernatural. This debut of middle grade follows Annabelle Barkley and her psychic family, who run the sentient Ravenfall Inn at the crossroads of the human world and the other world. When a runaway common comes to them for help stopping a family mystery, they must team up to stop an ancient Celtic creature from destroying the veil to the other world and wreaking havoc on the small Oregon town. Again, sounds great. I don't have a date. Think it would be perfect to come out in the spooky season, so I will be keeping a nose out. Let me know in the comments if I missed some other ones that you think I would like. I know there's a ton of Rick Riordan Present books coming out. I literally just listened to a whole podcast, but I don't want to include them all in here. I wanted to be a little bit more diverse in my recs. But let me know if there's any books, middle grade books, that you think I would like in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys for my next video. Bye, friends.